Good morning, Jean-Claude Baumgarten. I'm the head of WTTC.
And what brings you here today, Jean, in London?
Well, you know, the purpose of WTTC has and has always been and will be to create awareness of the importance of travel and tourism. Now, there are opportunities where the people we want to convince, that is to say the politicians, those who rule or will have to rule a country, there are opportunities where we have a chance to get our message across. And an electoral campaign is definitely one.
And next month, you're hosting your summit in China. The theme is reaching new frontiers. What do you see as reaching new frontiers? What do you mean by that?
Well, what we mean is that we see in medium and long term a tremendous growth in travel and tourism, and a tremendous growth which will be pushed by emerging countries. We will, in the next 10 years, see a growth of 4.5% per year. That means, for example, that the Chinese tourists overseas will be 150 or 170 million. That means Brazil will have access to travel and tourism. That means, in other words, that as well as the Chinese are the biggest consumer of new cars nowadays, the Chinese and the emerging countries will be the biggest consumer of travel and tourism. And those are new frontiers. Our industry has to adapt itself to that. Our industry has to create an investment policy. Our industry has to seek with government, public and private sector partnership. And that is new frontiers. We have to consider completely new way how to manage and how to plan travel and tourism on the public side and on the private side.
Now, the first 2 months of this year, Beijing's passenger traffic through Beijing International Airport has eclipsed Heathrow, taking over now as the world's second busiest airport. What do you think, not just Beijing but China as a whole, is doing that the UK isn't, and why it's overtaking the UK?
Well, we are in a situation where you have on one side a market which is creating infrastructures which are favorable of the growth of that market. And on the other side, we have a more mature market, which is an established travel and tourism market, but which definitely doesn't recognize that things have to be done. And Heathrow is a perfect example. I know there's a very controversial issue, but there is one point. If Heathrow cannot grow, definitely it will be a major handicap for travel and tourism in this country.
Now, within the UK, 10% of jobs are travel and tourism. That's 3 million. However, the industry as a whole is given so little recognition by the government. Why is there such a discrepancy between its importance and how much importance the government subscribes to it?
You know, the problem of that industry is that first you have huge companies like the airlines, like the hospitality companies, and then 80% of the activity is done by small and medium-sized enterprises. So it is very difficult for governments and for politicians to understand the scope. You have many jobs, you have tour operators, you have travel agents, you have hotels, you have airlines, you have rent-a-cars, and all that is very diversified. And that's why WTTC was established, to have a group of people who know what they want to do and who have a mission, and you get that mission across.
Now, putting you on the spot, Jean, election manifestos, if you were like an outsider looking in, what party do you think that would offer the most for the travel and tourism sector within the UK?
Well, if I look at those three manifestos, none has officially recognized the importance of travel and tourism. But if I look at the content of the reference of travel and tourism, I would say the Conservatives have certainly done a better job in looking about how use travel and tourism to create a better economic environment.
And if there's a change of regime, new party in, how would the WTTC like to work with the incoming government to improve the importance of travel and tourism in the UK?
Well, we don't work with government per se. We are are the messenger of something government have to understand. And definitely, if government asks us, and government all over the world ask us, we will do a study for that government to help them to define. In other words, we will help them to make decisions.
Okay, Jean, thanks very much for joining us on Breaking Travel News.
Thank you.